maybe things you learned, techniques you picked up in the
Mhm.
one would cross over in an advantageous way to the other.
That's right. That's exactly it. The benefit of playing other instruments far outweighs any potential downsides. Guaranteed. That's for sure. No question. There's no question about that in my mind. Okay. We're doing one of Jim's stupid games.
Here we go. Welcome back to Jim's Stupid Games.
We
The
don't even
games
know. We haven't even
games we
launched the
play.
first episode of the
Nope.
game yet.
So we don't even know how this is gonna
So we
how
don't know if the audience is going to agree or disagree that these games are stupid. I must have done something to Jim because he embarrassed me with my bagpipe movie knowledge on the first episode. And now we're going to talk about other types of bagpipes, which is one of my least favorite topics.
Here's what I think you could do, Andrew.
I'm just joking, by the way. I love other forms of bagpipes. I just never, they just never, so far, they just never really interested me enough to like really want to get into it. It's nothing personal.
I think it's interesting. That is something I've thought about. I also love other types of bagpipes, and I play a couple of other types of bagpipes, but it all started with Highland bagpipes. And it's something I think about rather often just because it's like, what are the ingredients? Obviously, there are people who are attracted specifically to other types of bagpipes and not to Highland bagpipes.
Right. There's that too.
But it does seem like in the bagpipe world, there's a pretty big cohort of people who are into the Highland bagpipes specifically.
Yeah.
And what are the factors? Is it is that the right word? Commercially available? What I'm trying to get at is like the availability of the instrument. Is that part of it, perhaps?
Yeah. Well, and I think part of it is kind of like maybe the lack of options. Maybe the fact that it's so established is appealing for me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm the same way with computers. Some people want to choose their own adventure and make their own computer and they want to soup it up and they're like, I don't want that. I just want to buy a computer. And then I want to do awesome stuff on the computer, but exploring other types of computers is not on my list.
Right. Not awesome stuff to the computer. As was once wisely said by a wise YouTube person whose name I suddenly can't remember, I want to do work on my computer, not work on my computer.
I think that sort of makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's sort of what it is.
That is one thing that I think about sometimes too regarding bagpipes, and I feel like is an important disclaimer as we go into this stupid game, is that one thing that I think is unique about Highland bagpipes right now, today, right? This is probably not always has been the case, but one thing that is unique about the Highland bagpipes is precisely, I'm trying to think, what's the one word to say to get this across? I think maybe uniformity is the word, where it's like most of these other types of bagpipes that will show up in this little game here, like there are so many variations. And there's variations on how you could set up your Highland bagpipes, how they could be played and stuff like that too. But at least it seems to me.
But not really, but also not really.
Yeah, and like, is that the result of the military use of these pipes or the competition system or what? I'm not sure exactly.
It's a great question.
But that function as a quick disclaimer, this is a simple, stupid little game. It is high level. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to show Andrew a picture of the type of bagpipes. If he can guess the type of bagpipe from just the picture, he gets 20 points.
20 points.
20 points. This is out of 100. So there's only a few rounds here.
I'm getting 100 points.
Then comes one clue, which is the region of the world from whence this bagpipe mostly, typically, or originally comes from.
Here we go. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
If you need one clue, you get 15 points. And the next clue is just something unique about this type of bagpipe, down to 10 points. And then a third clue, another thing that's unique about this type of bagpipes, down to 5 points. And then if I have to reveal it to you, no points. So that being said, some of these bagpipes go by names that like this word means a whole class of musical instruments or a whole slew of different kinds of bagpipes. And this is just one of those variations of bagpipes. Some of these fun facts about these bagpipes are true of some of these bagpipes, but not of some other variations. So we could go on hours and hours.
What you're saying is the listeners shouldn't be attacking you on Reddit and stuff.
I'm saying please don't attack me on Reddit. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. All right. You ready to play this stupid little game here, Andrew?
Yeah. I might jump through the screen and just attack you.
Yeah. I'm calling this game Bags and Pipes. You see the screen?
Yeah, I see the screen.
All right. Here we go, Andrew Douglas. Here we go. Did anybody ever call you Andrew the Mandrew?
Not until now. Not until today. Oh, and people have called me a lot of stuff, Jim.
All All right, here we go. Here is your first not great Highland bagpipe. There's a picture of it.
Okay.
Any guesses?
Well, we have a bellows,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have on the bagpipe what appears to be like a shuttle
Yeah.
drone.
Yeah, I thought that might stand out as reminiscent of like many of us who play Highland bagpipes are going to be aware of the John Walsh shuttle pipes, and this is something kind of similar.
All right, and then the chanters, there's two,
Mm.
and they have a lot of different keys on them.
Good observing, yes.
And they're bulbous. It kind of reminds
Yeah, kind of
me.
bulbous.
It kind of reminds me of Renaissance Italy. So I'm going to say it's the Italian squeezy shuttle. The Italian squeezy shuttle.
I like that. I'm going to take notes for new instruments to invent. So hint number one is
France.
France.
Son of
I mean, that here, hang on a sec. Like variations of this have shown up in Italy. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So again, like originating, I think like 16th century-ish in France. When did the Renaissance happen? Is that close to the right time?
I don't know when.
I'm going to not Google it. We're just going to move on. So between those two chanters, you do have it's fully chromatic, and you believe it with all those little keys, right?
Yeah, whatever.
Two chanters, as you observed.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here's the reveal. The Baroque musette.
Okay, let's hear a little bit.
You want to hear a little bit of this? Here we go. I don't know about you, Andrew, but I love that sound.
It's cool.
Yeah, I am into that.
It's almost more like they're not playing bagpipe style melodies, right? Like they're playing something else. It's almost like they're texturing.
Oh yeah, definitely, especially in that section there. And I mean, to be fair, to be clear, that's a duet of two of these musettes with accordion accompanying them as well. Some folks do think that probably some form of this instrument was inspiration for the Northumbrian small pipes, which is a type that maybe a lot of us Highland pipers are a little bit more familiar with, and maybe that sound is a little reminiscent of it, perhaps. Here's something that I think is interesting, Andrew. Tell me if you think, just from the hip, if you can guess at a reason for this, because I've been musing on it since learning a little bit about it, is that this is a fairly complex type of bagpipe, right? Because with all the key work, the shuttle drone that you noticed, in its most complicated version, there's like as many as like a dozen sliders, like a bunch of different options for drones, just tons and tons.
Yeah.
But after the maybe 17th or 18th century, these kind of start falling out of favor, and similar but far simpler types of bagpipe become and remain way more popular.
Yeah. Then this design or the shuttle drone in general?
Than this design, the complicated chanters. And so in the same region, there are other types of bagpipe that have a double chanter and things like that are kind of similar, but way simpler, that get way more popular and seem to have more lasting popularity than this complicated design. Yeah.
There's a cost benefit knob for sure. And then these ideas the errors in the ideas get corrected gradually.
Yeah.
But like at some point, now I don't know what's going on with the keys. So is the longer chanter a two-handed chanter? And then the shorter one you can also reach with one or both of your hands for other types of things, or like what's going on with that?
I wish I could say with 100% confidence that's the case, but I'm almost positive that's the case, because as you watch them play here, it does look like both these people are playing on the one chanter, and the second smaller chanter is like within the top hand.
And then you can control it with parts of your wrist and stuff.
Right. Maybe it's parts of your wrist or like the palm of your hand, etc. And yeah.
Well, I think there's a barrier to entry issue. So the more complicated an instrument is, the more difficult it's going to be to get much that's meaningful out of it. So it's like, if I have this thing and I barely ever use it, then you don't want to do it. And so you just set up one of the bagpipes without one of those things, or with only the drones that you use. And then suddenly it's a lot easier to teach. It's a lot easier to maintain. It's a lot easier to troubleshoot.
Right. It keeps working, right? More likely when your weather changes or whatever.
Yeah. It's your cost benefit. It's your cost benefit analysis.
It's also a little bit funny to me. I don't know if this makes things spicy or not, but I have read in more than one place that this type of bagpipe was popular at a certain time and in certain places because it was considered very improper or rude for female musicians to play mouth-blown instruments. And so attaching the bellows made it so all the musicians could play it, and that might have actually fanned the flames of its popularity. It's a little silly. Huh?
Well, it makes me chuckle when people are like, man, men just aren't polite anymore. Well, and that's true. Men have their shortcomings, but there was a time where men got together and said, women can't play mouth-blown instruments.
Yeah, you know what? Nah, they don't need that.
Exactly. So the world is a wonderful place, Jim. And we are progressing.
We're moving in the right direction.
However, however uncomfortable it still is.
All right, you ready for your next one, Andrew?
Uh-huh.
You didn't get any points on that round. Sorry to say.
I'm almost proud of not getting any points.
Oh.
I feel like we did some good stuff. We learned some good stuff there.
Hey, we learned some good stuff. All right.
This episode's already 10 minutes longer than I was hoping it was going to be. All right. This is a Arabian single droned goat pipe.
I am really enjoying your invented names. And honestly, you just about hit part of it on the head there.
Well, the mosaic gives me a clue. All right, Bulgaria. I only roughly know where that is. Somewhere on the steppe. Bulgaria, somewhere on the steppe.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Yeah, it is an entire goat.
Yes, it's an entire goat. I have seen these types of bagpipes.
Yep, that bag is one whole goat. And the next clue actually is to do with the bag as well. It is what's called a dry bag system. Have you ever heard of this before, Andrew?
Sounds itchy.
I had to do some reading. So here it is, Andrew. Here's what they do. They take the entire goat, okay? And they use the forelegs, not yet. They turn the skin inside out.
Right.
And it's not tanned and prepped. It's basically just stripped.
Yeah.
Then they turn it inside out, close up the two back legs, use the two forelegs for the drone and the blowpipe. Is that right?
It's okay.
That's right. And then the neck hole is for the chanter, right?
Okay.
It's inside out, right? The hair is still on the bag on the inside of the bag.
Uh-huh.
And that hair is what's used to handle the moisture situation inside of the bag.
Yeah.
And you treat it with lanolin now and again, but that's it.
There it is.
That's it.
So I should get some kind of points for this. I was pretty close.
You were pretty close. I'm gonna say you do get 5 points for this one because you got the goat situation. Yeah.
Let's hear some.
You bet. Oh yeah, this is a Bulgarian Gaida or Gaida. Also, there's a real cool article for anybody who sees that and goes, "God, that's like a gaita. It's so similar." There's a real cool article over on the Bagpipe Society by a person named Michael Peter that I thought was really cool. That's might be a coincidence, actually, that there's some really similar words floating around for bagpipes. Might not be as connected as you think. But here you go. This is a Guinness World Record-breaking 333 Bulgarian bagpipe players all at the same time. You ready to hear this wall of sound?
Yeah. It's more of a full body experience, isn't it?
It definitely seems like a full body experience, yeah. I mean, it's a big bag and, yeah, arms all the way around. Yeah.
All right, keep going, keep going.
There are different types, of course.
Something like that.
Yeah, nice. That
Nice.
is one thing that I do really enjoy about it. It seems like, I don't know for sure exactly how the scale is typically set up, but it seems like it's pretty modal, kind of minory all the time.
Yeah.
And that's groovy. I like that.
Yes. Nice. Well done, Bulgarians.
All right, here comes the next one. Are you ready for it?
The bag is not our bag goes under the arm. This bag is you're giving this thing a hug the whole time.
A great big hug, yeah.
Great big hug.
Which, can you imagine? I mean, it's typically one drone and a chanter. And if I remember remembering right, single reeds too. And so maybe not taking as much air as a Highland bagpipe chanter would. And
It
so
certainly
can you
doesn't
imagine
look
how
like
long
these
you
are-
could go
Yeah, it certainly doesn't look like these are too difficult.
in terms of
to play.
air pressure. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. All right, here you go, Andrew.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Kind of. No, I can't say that. I don't know. It's cool.
I'm going to give you your first clue. Are you ready? Or do you want it?
I feel like it's from Germania. This is definitely from Germania. This is definitely a German vibe.
Well, in terms of
Austrian, German,
if
high altitude, Alps.
if we cast a wide enough circle around what's historically been like Germanic cultural territories.
Yeah, Sweden. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yep. I knew it.
Yep, comes from Sweden. You can see, I don't know if we need to be considerate of our listening audience. Maybe we should have been describing more things, but one thing that is distinctive about this type of bagpipe is that chanter, the deep grooves. I mean, how do you miss a hole, right? Your fingers have a really comfy little spot to sit.
Nice.
That's for sure. Single reeds across the board here too. So you can imagine a softer kind of sound, less air demand than having a double reed in there. I guess maybe that's not always true. You could have a really soft double reed that would take less air than a really hard single reed. So I guess I shouldn't be making such assumptions, but single reed, of course, being something more like like a clarinet or something like that, right? It's a single reed instrument. All right. I had to call it Sackpipa because it's also referred to in the English-speaking world as the Swedish bagpipe. And so having revealed that it was from Sweden, kind of gave it all away. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
This is Anna Renfers and Eric Askupmark, which Eric Askupmark also plays the Sackpipa and a bunch of other instruments. He put out an album during the pandemic of some medieval music that includes some great piping. Anyway, here he's on harp and Anna is on the Sackpipa.
Cool.
What do you think, Andrew?
Kind of neat.
Yeah.
You can see some of the fingerwork relationships are similar to the Great Highland bagpipe there.
Yeah. I appreciated that the cameraman did some close-up shots there. Have you ever felt this way, Andrew, watching like even the Celtic Connections and Celtic Colors and all of these festival kind of things that end up on the internet?
Alliterations.
Yeah, a lot of alliteration there. Yeah, you're right. Those are the ones that are coming to my mind right away. But like these music festivals that are on the internet regularly, do you ever feel like me that is really frustrating that there's not a cameraman just dedicated to the fingerwork?
I've never felt that frustration, but now that you've brought it up, maybe I will.
Yeah, well, so often I'm like, how are they getting that? What'd they do there? I want to see what they're doing. And it'll be like, oh, we're coming up on that part where I've been curious about how they do that. And oh, the camera person is looking at the chanter. And then it fades to a wide shot right at the part where I wanted to see what their fingers were doing.
Finger cam.
I need a separate feed. Chanter cam. There you go, Swedish bagpipes. Yep.
2 more.
All right. Get through these.
This has been great. I mean, look, it's cool. It's definitely cool.
I'm making this one easy on
These are
Andrew.
Northumbrian bellows.
Slow down.
Pipes.
Slow down, Andrew. I know you can get this one.
What's that supposed to mean? I gave you my guess.
All right then. All right. Well, let me give you a couple
I don't
little
know.
clues
I don't know
then.
what they are. This isn't my thing. They're between places.
Not from a place so much as from between places.
Border pipes.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I meant. Wait, isn't Northumbria? Where's Northumbria?
Hey, it has borders. Northumbria has borders. So, yeah, no, this is typically referred to as the border pipes. But here's the thing.
That's what I meant.
Once again, let's be clear, right? Like the term border pipes, right, can be applied to pretty much any set of bagpipes that's got multiple drones coming from a common stock. And usually they have a pretty familiar chanter system to the Scottish Great Highland bagpipe, if not identical. It's usually at least close. So there's a lot of variation.
Do they play with a G sharp? Do they play with a sharp 7?
They can. That's one of the things, right? And my impression also, not playing border pipes myself, is that like cross fingering, pinching up, stuff like that is comparatively easy to do compared to Highland bagpipes. And so like maybe they're set up with a flat 7, but you can cross finger or squeeze up to get a major 7. There might be an additional hole for a major 7, stuff like that. Keywork at the top of the chanter. There's a lot of variation in what a border pipe can be, right? But yeah, for the most part, at least the ones that you see today a lot, I think tend to be like very much like small Highland bagpipes. Like a lot of Highland bagpipers who want a second option go with border pipes.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share with me?
Let's see if I added anything else cool. I'd like to share a video with you of it being played.
Yes.
Here's my good friend Jeremy Kingsbury, host of the Way Too Twag's Bagpipe and History podcast. Oh, and actually, I should have been mentioning too, I don't know who the makers are of the photos we've seen so far, but I do know that this set was made by John Swain. So sorry to not give credit to the artisans previously. Did my best to figure out who made them, but couldn't find them. But here's Jeremy playing a descriptive piece called The Black and the Gray on John Swain border pipes. I'm going to be honest with you, Andrew. Years ago, when I first encountered border pipes, did not like the sound.
I mean, it's aggressive. It's aggressive. It's offensive. Offensive. It's on the offense. It's playing offense.
It's on the offense. Yeah, it's playing offense.
It's not offensive. No, I'm not. I wasn't. By the way, I wasn't being sarcastic there. I was
I see what you mean. Yeah,
I like it. It's nice.
Oh, I'm definitely into it now. Between Jeremy Kingsbury's playing in particular and Michael Roddy as well, really convinced me over to thinking it's awesome.
I like it. I like all of it. It just doesn't light my,
It's not lighting your fire?
Yeah.
It's not lighting you up? All right, well, let's see.
But it's cool. It's cool, though.
It's still cool. Yeah. Just because you're not going to run out and get a set doesn't mean it's not cool, right?
Yeah.
All right, this is a tricky one. This is not one that I knew before preparing this little game for you.
Oh, great.
I had to learn about this set.
Well, Jim, these are the...
What are you observing as you look? I'm just curious. Like, what are you thinking about as you look this over?
I'm just trying to see if I can give you any clues to help you get this. Well, Jim, these are... well, let's see. Where haven't we covered yet? These are Scandinavian two-droned stopper pipes.
Stopper pipes. Nice. I like it. You're going to be ticked that you said Germanic for the Scandinavian ones and Scandinavian for the German ones. Oh, well, Andrew. Next time. Yeah, from Germany, the chanter is often set up in the same fingering style as a Baroque style recorder, which you can kind of see the turned lower note there in this picture.
The Germans, if it's not Baroque, they're not going to fix it.
And the one thing that is fun, it's not the only type of bagpipe that is in this situation, but any specimens of this type of bagpipe that exist in the world today are entirely reconstructions from Renaissance era paintings and descriptions from, what's the word? Organologists? Have you ever looked into organology?
All the time.
Yeah. It's like the study of musical instruments, if I'm not mistaken. And I probably am, but I think that's the case.
Well, Jim, join the club.
Yeah. What else can I tell you about this though, Andrew? Let's see. Yeah, referred to here comes my German. You ready? Referred to as Hummelchen small pipes. Hummelchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
That I don't speak German, but from what I was reading, one possible etymological explanation for that name is that there's a similar word in German that means trim. So it might be like a trimmed down bagpipe because it's kind of small. So maybe it's just like a way of saying small pipes, basically. But another one that I thought was really fun is that it's also really similar to a German word for bumblebee. And so it might be that they sound kind of like a bumblebee. And they would, wouldn't they?
Well, I want to hear.
Would you like to find out if they sound like a bumblebee?
Yes, I would.
Here you go.
Nice.
I like the common stock thing. Have you ever seen that? There's that really cool set of pipes in a museum somewhere, an antecedent to the modern Highland bagpipe. It was back in the two tenor drone days that has the common stock that forks out. I was thinking that's kind of fun.
Interesting. It seems like it could introduce potential problems. The engineering of it would have to be like absolutely on point to avoid having all sorts of problems, I think. I would think.
Well, maybe like in trying to turn out a whole bunch of units and have them all sound the same and stuff like that kind of forces you to make decisions, right? And maybe one of those decisions was we need to separate these into their own stocks. Maybe that's why. You're right now you're sitting at 20 points out of 100, but guess what? You're going to love this. I've got a bonus round for you.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what these are?
Those look like good old-fashioned small pipes, my friend. They got good old normal chanter.
How dare you? Normal chanter, Andrew?
Well, you know what I'm saying.
What's normal for you, perhaps?
And then the drones come out, and it looks like one of these small pipes you could buy a version of these fairly easily.
No, that's true. Here you go. They come from England.
England.
a place in England, and if I told you that specific place, then you'd know the name of the pipes. So I'm just going to say somewhere in modern day England that was previously its own little kingdom, and we still refer to that region as that place. But
Wales?
no? Okay, closed chanter. This is fun. That bottom of that chanter, there's not a hole at the bottom. So if all your fingers are down, no sound. So you can get staccato.
These are the Northumbrian pipes.
You got it. You got it.
What you're trying to tell me.
Yep, that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
You got it. Nice, Andrew.
I know vaguely. I know some of these things are out there.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of
chanters with lots of keys? Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the chanters referred to as hedgehogs?
No.
I just picked that up recently talking to Arl Lomel over on the Droning On podcast. He's around. He plays Bulgarian pipes and stuff like that. He's a cool guy. He's got some cool insights about musical instruments and stuff like that. So you can have a typical Northumbrian small pipe chanter might have like around 7 keys on it, but there are chanters out there with 17 keys on them. And yeah, they just look like little hedgehogs.
Amazing.
Yeah. So here's Catherine Tickle playing some Northumbrian small pipes. I think she's kind of the undisputed queen of the Northumbrian small pipes, but maybe some people come after me for that. But she is a great evangelist for the instrument, that's for sure. What do you think, Andrew?
Pretty cool.
Are you jealous of the ability to play staccato? I am every time I hear the Northumbrian small pipes. I would like to be able to do that.
It's cool, though. I mean, you said she's a great evangelist, and she's the possibly the undisputed queen of the Northumbrian small pipes.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the game then, Andrew. Here's what you ended up at 35, 15, 20, 30%.
It's pretty close to what I expected I might get.
Well, let me just say thanks for playing along.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's cool. Those instruments are neat. I'm definitely interested in the idea that all of our instruments probably came from a similar origin of some kind. And it would be very interesting to trace back to see if we can find an ancestor. For example, fish and humans are like distant cousins. At some point, we were the same organism, and then it evolved in a couple of different directions, one of which ended up with us, and one of us ended up with, the salmon in the river.
Yeah. Now, here's one thing that I think is interesting, Andrew. There are people out there who play more than one type of bagpipe. There's a lot of them, actually. Some of them whose names we've all heard. Fred Morrison is a strong example of being like a really good player on Highland pipes, border pipes, Uilleann pipes. These are different systems that use different scales, different fingering setups, all this stuff. And quite good on all of them. What I worry myself, I play a little tin whistle and stuff like that. I've been nerding out over the flute. And I don't think I have as much crossover problem, but when it comes to like other kinds of bagpipes, sometimes I worry, would it goof me up? Would I be playing my Highland bagpipes and suddenly switch to Uilleann pipe mode if I tried to learn Uilleann pipes? You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Is that something you would ever worry about? Or do you aspire to someday play Uilleann pipes or some other type of bagpipe, Andrew?
Well, I don't have any direct experience really, because I only play one kind of bagpipe, fingering system. But I think you would be surprised to find that it doesn't screw you up as much as you would think. I think.
We talked before about how there's a possible benefit from learning to play small pipes with bellows, where like that might actually contribute to you being able to blow your Highland pipes more steadily, where the same kind of anxiety might come up where it's like, oh, it's a different thing, so I won't do it, I wonder if there'd be, maybe things you learned, techniques you picked up in the one would cross over in an advantageous way to the other.
That's right. That's exactly it. The benefit of playing other instruments far outweighs any potential downsides. Guaranteed. That's for sure. No question. There's no question about that in my mind.
So then maybe casting this net like way wider than just different types of bagpipes, Andrew. Oh, and by the way, this was only 6 types of bagpipes, so we can have version 2 of this game anytime you want.
Oh, that's okay.
But looking at the wider world of musical instruments, if you could pick any one that you do not currently play, that you could just gain proficiency in, what instrument?
Easy. This one's easy for me.
What would that be?
This one's easy. Which would be, I would just want to be able to play the piano. Piano's the bee's knees. I really wish I learned how to play piano.
Is there like a genre or an artist that you particularly really like and would like to play like? Or is it just in general you'd love to tickle the ivories?
Well, in general, I'd love to do it. But I would also kill to play, like the ticklers of Atlantic Canada. That super awesome rhythmic style would be really great.
That is a really cool style. I like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really great. And then you can jam with pipe tunes
Hmm.
and do all sorts of cool rhythmic stuff. Like, that sounds cool. But just in general, I would just love to have some fluency, which, by the way, I could probably teach myself to do.
Yeah. Do you feel like this is something you'll forever be like, well, that would have been cool? Or is this a
I can
retirement
do
project
it,
for you?
right? I can play the piano, but it's
Mhm.
like extremely beginner level.
You're not at the unconscious competence
No.
level with that.
No, and I'd love to be unconsciously competent at just pushing out at least some of the basic chords and stuff like that. That would be great.
Hmm.
Maybe someday.
What about bagpipes? If I made you, I twist your arm, I say, you can't play Highland bagpipes anymore. You have to pick a different kind of bagpipe. What are you going to play?
Oh, geez.
This is going to be
I
a
don't
gut
know.
reaction. I won't hold you to it.
No, I don't know. I feel like I could let it go. I think if someone said to me, you can never play bagpipes again, I think I would say, cool. I wouldn't say cool, but I would probably go back to playing drum kit.
Ah, gotcha.
You know,
Rather than a different type of bagpipe.
yeah, I was extremely into playing drum kit when I was younger and reached a high level of aptitude. So I'd probably go back to something like that. That's legal, right?
That's legal, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever start the drummer's dojo,
Well,
let
we
me
kind
know.
of have that.
You kind of do have that,
But
don't
not
you?
for drum kit, but yeah.
Yet.
But yeah, drum kit would be cool. Maybe join a cool band, have some fun. The reason I play bagpipes isn't because of the fact that they're bagpipes. And they have a very cool history, and that's very interesting, but it's just the fun factor. It's super, super fun for me.
Yeah, it makes sense.
What seems like work to most of my students is easy and fun for me. You know, let's write out your entire tune by hand. And like
you're
for
getting
me,
excited.
it's like, ooh, yeah, I need to practice how to write. I need to practice writing my D throws neatly and consistently.
Mm.
You know, that sounds like fun for some
Yeah.
reason, even though I hate handwriting and all other types and kinds.
Once I can prepare round 2 of what bagpipe is that, I'll let you know, and we'll make it a future episode.
Okay, cool.
Let us know in the comments if you're enjoying these stupid little games or if you wish Andrew would write another book so that we could talk through that instead.
Well, I've written a lot of courses. I mean, Jim, you just got to get in there and
Yeah, but I could also spend my time
Yeah.
making slideshows instead.
well, hit us in the comments if you want me to come up with a game for Jim. That sounds fun.
But if you're upset with me about my pronunciation or that I didn't get into too much detail with the bagpipes, hit us up in the comments, but please be nice. I'm a gentle soul. I have a thin skin.
Hey everybody, Andrew Douglas here from the Piper's Dojo, and I just want to say thanks so much for listening to today's iteration of the podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard here today, it would be super helpful to us and to a lot of bagpipers out there trying to find us. If you could give us a top-notch review on whatever platform you're using to listen to this podcast, particularly Apple, iTunes, and Spotify and things like that, your review would be really, really helpful. So if you have a moment today, definitely go over there and help us out. Other than that, until we meet again on the podcast or somewhere else, thanks again for listening.